Kia ora koutou and welcome back to episode 2 of Persuasive Writing. Hopefully you have watched episode 1 and you have gone through the video and you have paused the video and read the examples that we gave you. Remember, we were looking at what is the author's purpose and why would someone write a persuasive text. Now, this episode here is actually going to be split into two. So I'm going to have episode 2.1 and episode 2.2. Okay, in episode 2.1, we're going to be looking at the structure and the language of persuasive writing. And in episode 2.2, we're going to go through and brainstorm an example for ourselves. We'll do a little bit of writing ourselves. Cool. So what does persuasive writing need to include? Okay. It needs to include an introduction, and in that introduction, you must state your position on the topic. Okay. For example, it might be that children shouldn't drink fizzy drinks. Now, you might be for that, in which case you agree with that, or you might be against it and you completely disagree with it. But you need to state where you stand in your introduction. You also need to include a hook to make your reader interested. You want them to keep reading so that you can actually convince them that your position is the right one. It needs to include a main body, which, for this age group, needs to be at least 3 paragraphs. 4 or 5 might come in a little bit later on, and that would be great. Each paragraph should include a reason with evidence and information to back up your reason. This is really important, and this is where that technical language comes in. This shows that you have researched your topic and you know what you are talking about. And finally, the conclusion, where you restate your position and you convince the reader why they should share your opinion. In the example that we had from episode 1, it had language examples I identified on that example. One of the things that came up was modal verbs. Now, these are kind of command verbs. So remember, verb is an action word. So you're trying to command someone to do something. It's you should, you will, this may, it must. Okay, so think about trying to include that in your writing. It also has thinking verbs. Okay, I feel, in my opinion. Please consider this fact. Contemplate this. Okay, so think about putting those thinking verbs in. It makes the reader think about your topic that little bit more. Okay, evaluative language or emotive language, something that creates an emotion within the reader. It's astonishing that. I find it disgusting when. This fact is fascinating because. This seems atrocious. Okay, that really gets the reader hooked in and starts to get them thinking about your topic and what you are trying to put across. And then you need to use conjunctions and connectives. Because, however, therefore, such as, for example, in addition to, all those types of sentence starters or conjunctions where you're using it in the middle of a sentence are really, really important. So here's some example of some persuasive language sentence starters. It is often thought that, many people believe that, one point of view is, and current opinion suggests that. Now, if you're going to use something like current opinion suggests that, you need to know what that current opinion is, and that's where that research comes in. Okay, according to quote from, that's real specific. Okay, you've done your research and you know that you've got a quote from this person that backs up your point of view. Okay, you can use in my view, in my opinion, I personally think. Okay, and then evaluation. Okay, clearly, obviously, without a doubt, it's easy to see why. Now, rebuttal is also important, and rebuttal is just a counter argument. You think of both sides of the argument, and then you come up with a counter argument for that. Right, I'll see you. I want you to have a think about this, and I'll see you in episode 2.2, where we'll start to write our own persuasive writing.